personality, and we can use that to help build
for whatever moment that you're in. So join our Made for the Moment challenge and our Facebook group. And then second, if you are an author, a coach, a minister, a consultant, an everyday person with an extraordinary story, I want you to join our Made for TV challenge. See, when I get in this director's chair, I'm looking to help you share your message on Roku, Amazon, Google Play, Web TV, and we have an app for Apple and Android phones. So if that's you, I want you to visit www.
You build your life based upon a blueprint that people you love you very much have given you, and you follow this blueprint to a T to the best of your ability, only to have everything that you've worked for crash down in a pile of rubble, broken rocks, shattered glass, completely unrecognizable from its original facade. My name is Yavanka Farabi. Today, I'm a life elevation strategist and coach. I have a television show that reaches millions around the world. I'm a prison chaplain that we have an organization called Beyond the Shackles, and we focus on instilling hope into the incarcerated, disenfranchised, and their families. But it wasn't always that way for me. I want you to think about your hopes and your dreams. I didn't always think about my hopes and dreams because I let a series of mishaps and missteps force me into a corner of mediocrity. And it wasn't because I didn't have more in me to do better. It's just that I was so shell-shocked that I was afraid to step out for what was best for my life. So I settled for what was good enough. I was raised on the south side of Chicago, and I was born to a mother that was a part of the Great Migration in the 1950s. So at 19 years old, she left her farm life in Mississippi to move to Chicago, where the factory jobs were plentiful, so she can get an assignment where she would be able to get a pension and benefits, which is very challenging today. Those plans just don't exist anymore. But she was able to do it in 3 years' time. And my mother dreamt of going to college. But because of a series of life events, that dream will become permanently shelved. But at the factory is where she met my dad. And even though they divorced when I was 4 years old, they both remained at that factory, my mom 35 years and my dad 40 years, and they retired with benefits and pension just like they planned. And although my mother never talked about going to college herself, again, for herself, she instilled in my siblings and I that it was something that was vital and that we must do. And I was in agreement. So nobody was more proud of me than my mom when I graduated from college and I got hired on to a Fortune 500 company in the engineering organization. She couldn't brag to enough people. The problem is that I absolutely hated that place. And I was terrible at the job. I was awful. I remember going to visit my mom one day. And I told her, I said, I really have to go and find something. I have to quit. I have to find something more suitable for me. And she was mortified. She said, listen, you're going to hate every job that you have. It's called work for a reason. Hello. She said, go down to that job, do the best job you can do, and get those folks to pay you as much money as you can get them to pay you. So that's what I did. Eventually, I did go into pharmaceutical sales. That was much better suited for me. However, it just wasn't it. And I was doing well. I was pulling down a six-figure income on a regular basis. And everybody was telling me how great I had it. But I felt guilty because I had these entrepreneurial endeavors in my heart. But because I listened to the status quo, I pushed those feelings down and I settled for good enough once again. But just when I thought I had good enough down to a science, the 2008 economy crash happened, and so did my six-figure income. And by this time, I was married for 12 years, and that hit the skids as well. And with everything circling the drain at the same time, I was fueled by unemployment, desperation, fear. I decided I'm going to start anew and I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do what I always wanted to do. And so I started an insurance agency from scratch, completely with all the overhead. I took my retirement and what I had left of my severance. And I started this agency without a mentor. Did I tell you that I didn't know a thing about the insurance industry? Needless to say, after 7 years of trying to keep this business afloat, I found myself laying off every employee I had. I didn't have a dime to my name. And I was facing eviction, not only in my place where I live, but in my business location. One time, I had some relatives call me and they were going to visit Los Angeles, where I live, in California, Los Angeles, California, and they wanted to see my office. I was in no condition to host anyone at that point, but my family, they didn't know I was circling the drain the way I was. I did not advertise it. So against my better judgment, I said, sure, come on down. As we sat in my office, I forgot that I had not locked the front door. At 7:30 at night, a man came in with a piece of paper and he served me a 30-day notice to vacate in front of my entire family. If the ground could have opened up in that moment, I would have welcomed it to swallow me whole. But let me explain to you something that happened to me in that circumstance. I finally was willing to do something that I had never been willing to do before, and that was to let it all go. Let it roll downhill, that hamster wheel I was on, trying to keep all the balls in the air, let it crash to its lowest point, and let the chips fall where they may. When the smoke cleared, there was a thing that I recognized about my life. There's a man by the name of Les Brown that says, let go or be dragged. I was being dragged, but I wasn't going to allow my fears to drag me any longer. Mediocrity was not going to continue to be my portion. And I was going to really get down to the brass tacks, what my values were, understand what it is I wanted out of this life. And I was going to do what I had to do to get this thing figured out. You see, when you let go, the most beautiful masterpiece can be erected from the rubble that lay at your feet. Everything that you've been through, everything that people have done to you, everything that you may have done to people that you carry shame about, can all be turned around for your good, but you have to be willing to change your perspective. Wayne Dyer was right when he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I thought about it. So, you know, my parents weren't wrong for trying to steer me towards stability. That's what good parents do. They love you and they just want to keep you safe. The problem is that my parents were not informed and they were not aware about the totality of the destiny that was already predestined for me before I was a glimmer in my mother's eye. It was my job to define that. You see, my life was coming for me, and I had to be willing to define my own existence. My life models were off, and they were off because my life models were built off blueprints that were not informed by the hopes and dreams that were in my heart. When your models are off, certain things happen. If your professional and your career models are off, then your profitability and your productivity suffers. If your relational models are off, then your family and your friendships become fragmented. If your spiritual models are off, then your heart becomes heavy and your mindset is adversely affected. Your life is coming for you, and you have to make up your mind that no matter what comes your way, that you have to be willing to establish the blueprints and build the models that inform your life. Make a promise to yourself. Be self-definitional. Things are going to happen to you. They happen to us all. But those things that happen to us gives us an opportunity to rethink our lives. You can ask yourself qualifying questions like, are you too complacent? Are you afraid to bet on you? Are you Addicted to direct deposit, the seemingly sure thing. Sometimes what seems so sure is not sure. You have to be willing to sacrifice something. So when you ask yourself those qualifying questions, what are you willing to sacrifice to live your hopes and your dreams? You see, we're born looking like our parents, but we die looking like our decisions. You must be willing to decide to do for 2 to 3 years what most people will never do for the rest of their lives. They'll go to their graves wondering what if, but not you. Miles Monroe has a saying that when we press through our fears to live our purpose, we rob the cemetery of our hopes and dreams. And it's true. We may not have to fight for everything, but everything we get is going to be a fight. And I had to fight to rise up from the rubble of my life when my business failed. I had to fight to rise up from the rubble when my marriage did not go the way I always dreamed it would go. I had to fight to rise up from the rubble. In 2019, I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, and I'm cancer-free today. But this is what I want you to derive from what I'm saying. Life is a fight for territory. And if you are not willing to fight for what you don't want will automatically take over. There's no choices in this. This is how it goes. And you have to be willing to do what it takes and sacrifice and be willing to fight for your hopes and your dreams. You have to be committed to the commitment. You see, the chicken was involved, but the pig was committed. You want to be committed and be willing to go to bat. And like any good soldier, you have to take good courage. Be willing to take good courage and fight for your hopes and your dreams and the things that you desire in your heart. And when you find out and lift up your head and see that you're charting a course that is so far off of what you ever imagined, you're going to need to take good courage. You're going to need to do it. And you might ask yourself, how do I do this? How do I build a new blueprint for my life? Jim Rohn has a saying that says, the best place to start to rebuild your life is whatever comes up in your mental I should list. I should write that book. I should deliver that business plan and develop it. I'm going to share something with you about that. Write your vision plain up on tables. Write the business plan. And no matter what it looks like, face it. Face the numbers. Take good courage and face the numbers. You will be surprised what God does for you and moves on your behalf if you would just take courage. But you got to get moving because you can't steer a car that's not moving. I'm going to give you some things that I had to do to embrace and rise up from the rubble of my life. The first thing I had to realize is that I was enough. And I want you to realize it too. You are enough. The skin that you're in. You don't have to do another thing. You don't have to get married. You don't have to get divorced. You don't have to lose weight. There's nothing else that you need to do to make a decision to bet on you and live your hopes and your dreams. The next thing I want you to do is realize that you have to be unstoppable. Let not people, places, or things keep you from doing what it is that's in your heart to do. And so you might have to make some decisions about the people that you hang around, the things that you listen to, the things that you watch to come in your eye gate. Be mindful of how you spend your time. You're going to have to make some decisions to live the life that you desire to live. The other thing I want you to realize is that you are victorious. You already have the victory, but you have to work on your mindset because you can never go where your mind has never taken you. And it takes a concerted effort to take understanding you're victorious from here to here, to shore up your backbone and step out and do what it is that you have to do. You can't wait till you're comfortable. You got to press. Another thing I want to suggest to you is that you own who you are. Own the victories, but also own those mistakes. Those mistakes are like gold to you. Extrapolate and excavate every lesson that you learn and leverage it for your good success. Not only for you, but the people in your sphere of influence. You all can elevate. When are we going to do this? Later? No, we're going to do it now. The time is now. You don't want to waste another moment not doing what it is that you believe you were designed to do, and you have it in you to do it. Don't try to wait till everything is perfect. Don't try to wait till the money comes in. Just begin to put one foot in front of the other. Like any good soldier, you're going to have to be willing to kill. You've got to kill the enemy called can't. Kill anything, that head trash up in your head that's taking up space, saying that you can't live your hopes and your dreams, saying that you'll never be financially independent, saying that you'll never achieve what it is that you set out to achieve. You have to be willing to kill it. But when you do, you have to replace it with something good. Do like what you're doing now. Listen to motivational speakers. Read something that is feeding you, that's going to help you, strengthen you in your fight for your life, your fight to stand up for what you want to do for you and your family. Don't just be neutral. Remember, I said whatever you want, you have to fight for, because what you don't fight for, what you don't want, will automatically take over. There's no neutrality in it. And then finally, I want you to assess your life. Realize how far you've come. Sometimes we can get so caught up in the day-to-day that we don't even realize that we've already overcome and survived what it is that we thought was going to destroy us. And it is important to remind yourself that you have survived everything that you once thought was going to do you in. You're here. Now it's time to live your life, because if you're on your back and you can look up, you can get up. I want to leave you with something. There is a poem that I like by a 20th century poet by the name of Edward Vance Cook. And it is a poem called How Did You Die? And I want to share it with you right now. It goes like this. Did you tackle that trouble that came your way with a resolute heart and cheerful, or hide your face from the light of day with a craven soul and fearful? Oh, a trouble's a ton and a trouble's an ounce, or a trouble is what you make it. And it isn't the fact that you're hurt that counts, but only how did you take it? You're beaten to earth? Well, what's that? Come up with a smiling face. It's nothing against you to fall down flat, but to lie there, that's disgrace. The harder you're thrown, while the higher you bounce. Be proud of your blackened eye. It isn't the fact that you're licked that counts. It's how did you fight and why? And though you be done to death, what then? If you battled the best you could. If you played your part in the world of men, while the critic will call it good. Death comes with a crawl and it comes with a pounce. And whether he's slow or spry, it isn't the fact that you're dead that counts, but only how did you die? I want you to listen to me. You have everything that it takes to do what it is that you were designed to do what you were put on this earth to do. You are strong, you are victorious, and you've got this. My name is Ivanka Firaby, and I want to invite you to successfully rise from the rubble and rebuild the masterpiece of your life today. Thank you.
My name is Margaret. I am born in Gabon. I used to live in Paris, France, and now I live for 11 years in the US. During all these years, I've been living in 3 different continents. I had the opportunity to experience a lot in life, from ups and downs to drama and pain. I know what it is to lose a job. I unfortunately experienced the loss of one of my parents. I also know what it is to not have a place to sleep. I was homeless for months. And I've been through different toxic relationships and domestic violence. But during all this struggle and this drama, I was able to put myself together. I was able to stand up and rise up. The reason why today I'm sharing this story with you is because I believe that out there are many people living the same situation. Out there are many people crying. Out there are many people going through a divorce, going through a tough situation, going through something that they are ashamed of. My message today is to tell you that your life is not over. It's not because today you're crying on the floor that it's the end of the story. It's not because today you are depressed that you're not going to see the end of the road. I didn't have anything. I didn't have no one to talk to, but I had my inner strength. I had my will. I had my sanity. And today I would like everybody to know that the journey can be tough, but you're going to smile again. You're going to be back up again. For that, you just need to develop some technique during this tough time. Everybody has known at least once in their life what it is to really cry, really be depressed. Myself, I had suicidal thoughts when I was going through depression, when I was going through domestic violence, when I was going through the fact that I didn't even know where to shower. But guess what? I knew that it was just circumstances in my life. I knew that my future was not to be in this car where I was sleeping. I knew that it was temporary. And I want you to know that today. I want you to know that it's not over. I was previously talking about techniques that I had during this tough time. I would like to share it with you today because I believe that during this time, you will need that to get up. The first thing that I think that you need to do is to shift completely your mind. Your mind is your strength. Your mind is your weapon during these moments. I know you're going to think that, okay, it's easy to say that, okay, I can just change my mind and I can just imagine that everything's going to be okay. That's easy to say, but you can do it. If I did it, you can do it. The reason why I'm talking about shifting your mind is the fact that you decide yourself that you're going to get up. The fact that you decide yourself that this situation is temporary. The fact that your will and your heart tells you that you're going to smile again, that you're going to dream again, that you're going to hope again is something very important when it comes to your self-value. It's something very important when it comes to get out of this depression. It's something very important when you're crying on the floor, your mind. You need to protect your mind. You need to shift it. You need to renew it. You need to completely change it. Today, I'm telling you, if you want it, you can do it. If you have decided to make up your mind to get out of this situation and succeed, it will happen. It's not a miracle, it's your will. And will is the strongest thing that you can have in your life. So the first step will be for you to make a decision. You are the only one who can do it. I remember when I was going through this toxic relationship and I was hit and for the first time I experienced domestic violence. I remember that I asked myself if I wanted to live that for the rest of my life, if I wanted to be hurt for years, if I wanted to be in this situation forever. It was hard, and because it's very difficult to leave somebody that you deeply love. It's difficult to just get up one morning and leave the person you imagine finishing your life with. Yes, it is hard, but hard doesn't mean that it's impossible. Hard doesn't mean that you cannot do it. Hard doesn't mean that it's the end of the day. I got up one morning and my mind just shifted. I just clicked. I knew that I had to go. Loving somebody is very important. Love is an incredible thing, but loving yourself should be more important than anything. And when I say that loving yourself is not being selfish, especially in this situation, like the example that I just gave to you, in the case of domestic violence, you need to love yourself to not die. You need to love yourself to save yourself. It's an extreme situation that you cannot stay in. I believe that every woman should have this message. Every woman going through this situation of domestic violence should have a shift of mind. It's not only for domestic violence, it's for every situation that you believe is toxic for your sanity. My message is to strengthen yourself. Sometimes we think that we're very weak. We think that we're never going to get out of a situation. We're too weak. We cop into our emotions. We think that it's not going to be over. We think that we need help. Of course, everybody needs help, but your first help is yourself. Your first help is your brain. Your first help is your will. Your first help is making a decision for yourself, for your life. During this period, also, I know that you're feeling alone. Feeling alone is completely normal. Feeling alone is going to make you tough or tougher. And tough is not a negative word in this kind of circumstances. Have you ever thought that maybe being tough is what your future requires you to be, to get to your purpose, to get ahead? That's the first thing that you need to do. Very simple. Your mind, shift your mind. The second thing that you need to get up and to get out of this situation is a shanking. What does that mean? A shanking is a process in which the brain converted a sequence of action into an automatic routine. You need a routine. What I call a routine is when you see that you're really down, you have to be conscious first that you are not feeling well. That's the first thing. You have to be honest with yourself. I'm not feeling well. I'm really depressed. I think that that day is not going to be my day. You need to be very frank with yourself. Once you're completely conscious of that, you need to be in routine mode. What I mean by routine mode is when I lost my mother, of course you're depressed. Of course you're crying every day. Of course, you know, you don't want to get out of your bed. You don't want to see anyone. You don't want to talk to anyone, but you need to go to work. The bills needs to be paid. You still have some obligations that you have to follow. In that case, you need your emotion to be away. You need a routine. Your routine is, for example, you wake up every day at 7 o'clock in the morning. You drive your car, you go to work, you smile, because sometimes your work requires you to interact with other people. You do it. You don't think. You just do it. Day after day. I know it might sound like, oh, I'm a robot now. I don't have any feeling. I cannot express my emotions. No, you are in survival mode. You need that to get through the process. You need that to get up. You need that to face this situation. You need a routine. Even though you're not feeling well, you still need to do what you need to do in life. Because as I said in the beginning of this video, it's just a circumstance in your life. It's not going to stay that way. You need to keep that in mind. You know, when you lose a parent, when you're grieving, is one thing that I will never wish to anyone. You're not only depressed, you're down every day. The simple fact that you have to wake up every morning is a difficult process. The simple fact that people are asking you, are you okay? Oh, of course not, I'm not okay. So you're very nervous. You're mad at everyone and anyone. You're confused. You want your parent back. You're crying. One second you're crying, the next second you're laughing because you're trying to process. You don't believe it, and the next day you believe it, and you figure that, oh, finally that's really true. She's really gone, or he's really gone. That's a difficult process. And during this process of grieving, you want to stop everything. But guess what? Your life needs to continue. Your projects, your plans needs to continue. You cannot stop. Even the person that is gone would not like it for you, and you know it. You need to continue. Even smiling is difficult during this time, but you need to do it, because I'm sure around you, some people need you. They need your support. They need you to be okay. They need you to be up. I know exactly what you're thinking. Is the routines gonna really help me? Trust me, I did it for the loss of my mom, for this time when I was homeless and I didn't know where to go, for domestic violence, for the loss of a job. When I was going through depression, that's what I did. And let me tell you that it works. It works. It works. That's why I'm standing here today. That's why I'm smiling at you today, because it works. The third thing that you need to do, you need to continue to use your brain. That's very important. Difficulties, drama, pain brings a lot of emotions. Emotions are good, don't get me wrong, but those emotions are your enemies during this time. Because if you follow them, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to accomplish anything. And you're going to be completely a prisoner of all this emotion, of all this cry. Crying is good, don't get me wrong. You need to cry. You need to exteriorize this pain. You need it. So I'm not saying that crying is bad. What I am saying is when you finish crying, you can do it for 1 day, 2 days, or even a week. It depends on people. But when you finish doing it, you need to get up. It's time to get up. It's time to get back to your plan. It's time to get back to your life. You need it. That's what I mean by shutting your emotion. You need to shut them down. You need to use your brain. When I was homeless and I didn't know where to go and I was completely desperate and I was ashamed to even call somebody to ask, okay, can I sleep on your couch? And I was afraid for my life. I was a woman alone, completely alone in Washington, D.C., sleeping in my car. And I was afraid to be attacked. I didn't know where to go and what to do. I wanted to cry so bad, but I couldn't. Because in this kind of situation, once again, you are in a survival mode. So you have to think, okay, where can I sleep in a safe place? What should I do? How can I shower every morning? Your brain needs to be on because you need to think. You need to find ideas. That's what you need to do. You will have time to cry. You will have time to say, oh my God, why I'm in this situation? You will have all the time for that. But right now, you need to find a place, for example, that is secure for you. I'm talking about when I was homeless, for example. I know that you're going to tell me, okay, that's emotion. I'm a human being. I cannot shut down just completely my emotion. Yes, you can. If your brain is on, you turn off the emotion. You turn off all these emotions because they're not helping right now. And you keep going. I said, you keep going until you get out of this situation. The fact that you focus gonna install a process where you're gonna find idea to get out of this situation. It's like magical, but it happened to me. And I know that it's gonna happen to you as well. People, let me tell you one thing that I have learned during all this time, during all this situation, during all this emotion, during all this pain, during all this drama. It's like the story is never over. As soon as we think that it's over, it's not. I'm giving you this message today because I want you to use your inner strength. Every and each of us has an inner strength. Your inner strength is going to make you make the decision. You need to make a decision. When I was going through all this situation, I wanted to be motivated. And I have nothing against motivation. Motivation is a great thing. It's fabulous. You wake up in the morning and you're motivated and you want to do this and that. But the thing is, motivation is linked to your emotion. That's the problem. And emotion can shift. It can shift. It can change. Today you're feeling well. Tomorrow is something else. That's what motivation does. But making a decision, commit to yourself that you're going to get out of this situation is deeper than you think. Develop this strength, this inner strength. You can do it. You're the only one who can do it. You are your best friend. You are your best asset. You are your best weapon. I know that right now you don't believe it. But if you don't believe in what I said, at least believe in yourself, because in this kind of situation, you are the only one accountable. You are the only one who can count on who you are. You know who you are. You know what you can accomplish. You know why you are in this situation. You know what you can do. You know your qualities. You know all of that. You're your best supporter. Going through drama is difficult. I keep saying the same thing over and over. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. Today, I'm glad to share my story because I know that it's going to strengthen somebody. I know that it's going to be an asset for somebody. I know that it's going to help somebody. I believe that secret storm and challenges in life build us. I believe that these situations are not for nothing. It's for you to become the person that you're supposed to be, a great person, an accomplished person, a strong person. I was glad today to share that with you. Don't lose yourself. Continue to believe. Continue to progress. Continue to smile. Continue to laugh, because it's only circumstances. But the best is ahead. The best is you. The best is in you. I'm Margaret Pemba, and I'm a proud survivor of difficult circumstances.
Just getting warmed up. We're just getting started, and you are in for a treat today. We have a panel of powerful experts on a topic, and a topic that is extremely important to every business owner. And we're going to discuss the secrets of creating, maintaining a bankable business. You've heard, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. Well, I'm going to let you in on another little secret. If you've got a business and you're not making money, guess what? You've got an expensive hobby. But I've got 3 experts today who are going to give you secrets, tips about making sure that you can maintain, perpetuate, and grow a bankable business. My name is Velton Schall, and I'm the moderator today, and I am privileged and honored to have 3 extremely knowledgeable professionals that are going to talk to you about creating a bankable business. And I'm going to start out with one of our guests. Her name is Molika Gupta, and she is a Mind Valley certified exponential coach. She's sought after to do keynotes and motivational speaking around the country. She's co-authored a book called Redesign Your 9 to 5. Basically, it's about creating a mission to catalyze 10,000 women who relocated to a new country. And this is what she talks about. She's relocated to a new country and she's created an incredible business, but she's helping other women get to that same level. And she's given herself a goal to do that by 2025. So again, she's an expert. She's been a guest on many women's leadership podcasts. She does online summits. She's been on stages. She's also been published in things such as the Detroit News, PBS, and Fast Company. So we're going to welcome Malika. She has become a board member also of the Western USA India Business Council of Women of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So again, strap on your boots and tighten up because she's got a message for you today. Secondly, we've got another powerful individual, and her name is Regina Nunley. She was born and raised in Daytona Beach, Florida, and is an Amazon best-selling officer, a criminal defense attorney, an ordained minister, an entrepreneur, and a travel expert. And she calls herself a servant leader, and she's going to serve you today. She has founded and created the See the World Travel Through My Eyes LLC. And as an answer to the pandemic, again, she created another bankable business to help her perpetuate her life and her journey down the road. And last but not least, and I told him before we went on the air that chivalry isn't dead, but we're going to introduce to you, Dominic Emerson. He is the CEO of Conversation Kings, and he's a motivational speaker, an inspirational coach that teaches you how to understand the master mentality. He's also been featured on publications and TV shows like Fox Network, CBS, and NBC. He's also an executive contributor to The Brains magazine. He's done keynote speakers. He's part of the Black Headliners Association and the Black Speakers Network. And here's something that's really interesting. He's an advocate for the homeless community and focuses on serving others with mental health issues. So, again, strap on your boots real tight because this panel is about to take flight. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad to have you. I'm excited about our conversation about the secrets of growing a bankable business. Now, I'm going to ask each of you just to give me first, what did you think when you heard that we were going to talk about creating and maintaining a bankable business? Now, we're going to get a little biblical here because in the Bible it says the first will be last and the last will be first. So the ladies went first, so we're going to let Dominic, we're going to let him jump into this question first. How's that? Dominic, when we told you that the topic was going to be the secrets of maintaining and growing a bankable business, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
More so just basically conversating and talking about what does it take in order to have a profitable business? What steps do you need and how do you go about making that happen? And there are secrets. So we're going to talk about those secrets and we're going to let everyone else know what those secrets are. So I thought that that was a good topic, and it's a great topic because these secrets need to be shared. It's kind of like the McDonald's. When you go there, they have secret sauce and everybody wants to know what's the secret sauce. So today we're going to give them the secret sauce.
All right, fantastic. So let me ask you, what does a bankable business mean to you? What does that mean?
Well, to me, it means that it's a healthy, sufficient, acceptable business. A bankable business is something that grows. It has a profit that it is bringing in, and it has a revenue, and it grows off of that. So a bankable business is something that's established itself. Just like I said, as a McDonald's or a Walmart, that's a bankable business because no matter what, it doesn't change, but it stays consistent and constant. And you can take that to the bank because everybody knows who McDonald's and Walmart is.
All right, fantastic. Malika, I'm going to ask you the same question. When we said that we were going to talk about the secrets of building a bankable business, what does that mean to you?
For me, it means a profitable business, a business which is making money, which has a mission, which has a purpose, and has also an exit strategy. So many business owners do not build a business to sell it. And for me, a bankable business is one where you can walk out of that business and have money to create another business.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Regina, I know you got something real hot that you're going to share with us about this bankable business because, I said at the inception, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So when you heard us talk about a bankable business, what triggered your interest?
Well, we're talking about a business that can, I would say, continue to thrive even during the time of a pandemic, that can be able to create revenues and profits and continue with be able to create a steady stream of income. So, and I looked at that and I said, yeah, I have a bank and I have a business and I want to put something in it. So we're talking about bankable, always making that bank. So, that it has a purpose. And I believe it has to be essential. What you have is essential. We found in this pandemic what's essential and what isn't. And so I want you have to have a pandemic proof. It has to solve problems. As long as I'm solving a problem, solving an issue, I will continue to have something coming in, whether big or small.
So, okay. So we're going to stay with you for a second because I want to ask you this. So obviously, it's important to have a bankable business. But what are the keys to building a bankable business? Everybody says, yeah, I agree. I agree with everything that all three of the panelists have said. But Regina, tell me, what's important to building a bankable business? What are the keys to building that business? Because I'm just starting out. I'm fresh. I got an idea. I've got a concept I want to share with the world. But I need to understand there's specific things I got to do. What do I have to do to start that business?
Well, first of all, everything starts with a foundation, and that foundation is you. All right. The first person they see is you. The business is really an extension of you. So you can have all the ideas in the world, but if your mindset is, you have a limiting mindset, doesn't matter what you do. So you have to start with the person. You have to start with your mindset. So that means, number one, coaching. You need to have a mentor. You have to have somebody that's going to be able to guide you through these waters so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Second thing I would say, they need to be willing to put in the work, make an effort. All right. You got to get your hands dirty. Whatever the plan is, your success is in that plan, and you need to follow the plan. And number three, you need to invest in yourself, and you need to make the money. You have to make the investment. You have to pay the money. People think the business is about, oh, I could do this thing for free. No, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. All right. And so that may mean that what it means, sacrifice, money, time, energy, hopefully not your health, hopefully not your mentality, because nothing is more important than you taking care of your mindset. But if you have all those three together, I believe those are the keys I would suggest to help you maintaining a business, a relationship, or any other ship that might come into the dock. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, Malika, same thing. What are the keys to building a bankable business?
Well, first of all, I want each of the listeners to ask themselves, what are the business you are surrounded with? What are the famous businesses you know about? Amazon, Nike, McDonald's, Starbucks, and then ask yourself, why are these businesses thriving, no matter what is happening, pandemic or not? Because they are solving a problem. Pick any business and they are solving a problem for specific people, for specific niche. So for the foundational business, to build a business, you need to first solve a problem. You need to ask yourself, if I want to create a $1 billion business, what is the $1 billion problem I'm solving? If I want to create a 100K business, what is the 100K problem I'm solving? And who are these people who are suffering right now if I don't create that business? That is the foundation of any business you see around yourself. From there on, you need to ask yourself, well, okay, fine, I have a problem. I know that these are the people who are suffering. What's my next step? The next step is to create a business plan. I'm amazed to know how many business owners, they just go into it and they do not have a clear, focused vision, mission, and a business plan. A business plan is like an outline. When you are going out there to, let's say, for example, to build a house, You don't start building your house without a blueprint, right? So why, if you're thinking of creating a business, why to forget about creating or writing a business plan? So that's the second step, to have a business plan, to know what is the problem I'm solving, who are these people who are having these problems. And the third thing is, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Yes, it's because of money, it's because for that, but what is the bigger problem behind it? What is the bigger mission and the purpose behind it? Because I'll tell you something, building a business is not easy. It is tough. It is as tough as you can think of. And if you do not have a reason behind it, then it's difficult. It's going to get difficult, and it's going to get ugly, and it's going to get, it will lead to a stage where it'll be like, you know what, I don't think it's working for me. So have a reason for yourself. Why is it so important to me to build this business?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. These are some great tips. And it's amazing because a lot of people don't understand this. But again, any input, Dominic, on those keys or concepts? Because I'm getting some great information here, and I hope our audience is too.
Oh, what the other two panelists are basically saying is so true, and it's fact. You have to, like my sister Regina said, you have to invest. You have to have that mentality to invest in yourself and in your business. And like my sister Malika said, the other panelists, she did state that you have to have a plan. Without investing in yourself and having a plan, you will not build a bankable business. You have to take that time, write it out, and do the work. That's basically what they just was saying, which I loved it. You have to do the work. You have to mentally prepare yourself to do the work. You have to understand what's around you, because location is key if you're building a bankable business. I took that message as well. And I hope that the people who watch take that also. You have to understand that when you're doing and building a bankable business, foundation. Like she said, a good architect has a plan. He knows the lay of the land. He builds the foundation, but he has to start from the foundation. And like I like the saying where it says, most successful people are going to sleep either at 5 o'clock in the morning or they're waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You have to invest, do the work, and have a plan in order to have a bankable business.
You know, it's interesting because I'm going to drill down on this for a second before we move on, because like you, I work with a lot of people who are building businesses. And one of the things that they talk about is, oh, I have a business plan. And you review their business plans, and most of their business plans have information that will allow them to secure finances from lending institutions. But when it comes to step-by-step strategic thought and activities, some of their plans don't contain that type of information. They don't contain strategies and tactics to unlock the secrets to delivering the solutions that you talked about. What do you say to somebody when you talk to them and they say, well, I've got a business plan, and you unpack their business plan and it's really superficial? How do you get them to drill down into the nuts and bolts of the content necessary for their success based on the journey that they're about to embark upon? Dominic, if you will continue, and then I'll go to both Malika and Regina on that topic.
In that scenario of building a business and going into the plan, you may have to go all the way back and start from scratch. And then the people that you're talking about that have to get a strategic plan, they have to come with an open mind saying, okay, maybe we have to go back from square one, take all the feelings out of it, go back to square one and see what steps do I need to take as far as the finances, building. You have to get the foundation of the strategy to make the plan work. So I would say you might have to break it all the way down and just, rewrite the book on the plan and start all over.
Okay.
But you have to have coaching, someone as yourself or someone else to coach them and walk them through that process.
Okay. Malika, any input on that?
Yes, absolutely. So A business plan will differ depending on which stage of business you are in. So for example, let's just say you are just starting out and you're like, what is about this business plan these panelists are talking about? What goes into it? Well, for you, if you're just starting out, why this business plan is important is because it's going to guide you. It's your guiding document. So what it's going to look like for you is your mission of your company, right? So if any company you look at around, they have a mission. What is the mission for your company? What is the vision for you? For example, in next 5 years, where do I see my company going? Or maybe in the next 1 year, where do I see this? What is the market analysis? So who is your market? Who is your target market? Maybe it's women in 60s and 70s, or a woman in 35 who is in a corporate career and who's wanting to get out of the career and wanting to start a business. Maybe that's your demographic. Well, then who is your competition in that market? Maybe it's another business coach. Maybe it's another company. Whatever that is, it needs to be drilled down to a level where it gives some structure to that idea of, okay, if I'm going behind this market and these are the competition, these are the products and services, what is the white space for me? The whole reason of defining this business plan is to figure out where can you serve your market, where there's already a gap, or maybe you have an improved service or improved product, where you can improve that versus your competition. So that business plan is really a guiding document. And one important thing about business plan is to review it every quarter. Mm-hmm. It's not like you have built it, you have structured it out, and it's under the drawer, and then it's done. No, it's a living and breathing document which is gonna get evolved every quarter. And as you progress, as you create more products and services, as you expand your niche, depending on, for example, in my case, I'm expanding my niche. It's gonna get evolved, and honestly, it should be fun document. It doesn't have to be all financials and all dollar amounts. It should be a fun document because it's like your map. It's like your North guiding star. So it's a very important piece of document, but it's also a very important piece of document which you need to review every quarter. And initially, I would suggest go every month, check what's happening, what's changing, and have fun with it. Have real fun with it. It's beautiful.
Very good. Regina, your comments on that subject.
I concur with my esteemed panelists in that your business plan is a living, breathing document. Okay. We evolve. Your business is going to evolve. It's going to start out small. It's going to grow. So I think what's important is that it's essential that the areas that you're weakest in, you need to do your research. You need to research. We got to research before you even, that's part of the plan, because the business plan, put in about, did you do research? How'd you do this? What are your demographics? Very specific, it scales it down. So if there is something that's not there, that's why it's important to have someone mentoring you, someone that's going to be able to lead and guide you, and you can run these things by so they can be able to review what you have. And then, of course, then they'll say, well, let's look at what this business, like Malika was suggesting, look at what this business is doing. Well, what that business is doing, kind of how they move and shake and work. And then, of course, like Dominic say, hey, you may have to go back to the drawing board with it because it is going to evolve. And it's not something that's going to just stay static. And I think that's what happens. We go with this expectation. We really don't know what the heck we're doing. We just, I got a business. Oh, that sound bougie. Well, okay, fine. But at the same time, do you have a goal? What's your bottom line? So going back to the document, it evolves. You evolve. And so you have to look at it. But if there's deficiency somewhere up in there, the better time is to have somebody review it before you implement it. And then basically your nakedness will be shown. And then you're going to try to cover it up and be like, oh my God. So yeah, it's always better to have, there's a multitude of counsel, there's safety.
All right. Well, all right. Here's the hit. Now I'm going to throw the monkey wrench into the system, or there's the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is called COVID-19, the pandemic. I have a business. I have a business plan. Now, all of a sudden, the world has changed. How important is it for me to be able to pivot Now that I'm in the thick of something that I didn't expect, for me to be able to maintain my business or adopt change or have a positive impact on my direction moving forward. Regina?
Well, that goes back to my original statement about change. Things happen. Some things you can predict and some things you can't. The pandemic, no one saw this happening, right? Or maybe some did and they didn't tell nobody. So yeah, it's important to be able to adjust, be able to move, be able to go with the flow. I suggest that you become a professional ear hustler. Yeah, a professional ear hustler. Okay. In other words, you need to always be listening, educating yourself, always being willing to seek out new life and new civilizations. Why? Because there may be times that you want to adjust your business plan or adjust things just in case something happens. I'll give you an example. I work as an assistant public defender. All right. When 2008 hit, right before that, we were getting incentives. We were just having fun. It was like we're getting extra money. Can't say bonus, but incentives. And so, but when 2008 hit, all that good stuff left. But what happened was our administrator, she kept her ear to the air and heard what was going on. And she started adjusting things in the office. So when the 2008 hit hard, we didn't lose anybody. No, the incentives might have stopped, but at the very least, no one had to we hadn't downsize or anything like that because she was already ahead of the game. And so that's important in this. And that's what's going to allow you to effectively pivot, because you can pivot effectively and pivot ineffectively, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and this pandemic is showing us that what we thought was isn't, and what we thought isn't is. And we need to have a plan B. We need to be ready because we never know what's going to happen. So I think that this pandemic has clearly uncovered a lot of things. It has covered your strengths and it'll uncover your weaknesses. Not going back to my first statement, you find out what's essential and what isn't. And then you may find out in your plan, how do I make sure that I remain essential and relevant to maintain some type of course of action? And so, yeah, pivot, yes. Always know how to adjust and go with the flow. Because if you don't, you're going to get left behind like Blockbuster.
Well, it's interesting. And Malika, I want you to comment on this also. But I'm going to add a little caveat to it because you brought up something that's very important. COVID-19 is our current change or adjustment. 2008, it was the market crash. 2001, it was the Twin Towers. Prior to that, it was the Gulf War. Business is cyclical, Malika. So I'm pivoting back and forth. I almost feel like a yo-yo. How do I handle this?
I believe that your target market, your people, your audience speaks to what they are looking for in the timeline, in the time zone you're currently at. So for example, all the gyms, all the fitness classes. I remember my fitness classes, they were not offering any online classes before pandemic. And when their entire franchisee, they went completely online. And I also know several yoga classes, which I was part of, which were not able to adjust to what was happening in the market during pandemic. Their market, their customers, for example, me, I was looking for online classes from them and they couldn't adjust to that. So pivoting really, what exactly pivoting means what exactly is your market is demanding in that particular timeline. What is happening in their world? What are they looking for as a solution? And are you listening? Because what happens many times as business owners, we are so stuck in our egos that this is what I do, this is what I'm going to do. And no matter what's happening around me, I'm not going to adjust. And that's when you will see people around, whoever, like business owners and small business owners and big businesses have suffered because they were not willing to listen to what is happening or what people are demanding from them. So there are several examples of companies which started thriving. For example, Zoom. I don't think people have even heard about, so many people have not heard about Zoom, but Zoom really monetized this opportunity. They knew that world is going online and we have to bank this particular opportunity, and that was great. And several of other companies did that exactly. Several business coaches, especially event industry. I am so thrilled and it's so amazing to know that several of my mentors who were offering online, were offering events, in-person events, they went completely virtual within matter of 30 or 60 days. And that to me is pivot and adjusting. Their customers, their market, like me, were looking for solutions where we cannot go in person, but we still wanted to connect with everybody and wanted to not miss a beat of all these events. So as a business owner, you need to ask yourself, where is my target market? What are my people suffering or looking for as a solution? And how can I become creative? How can I offer that? And how can I serve them? And this all ties back to your business plan. Because if you have really devoted your time to create that, you will have answered this question of what is the reason of me doing this business? Who are these people? And so it's always gonna be continually evolving, but it also goes back to what Regina was telling, your mindset of adjusting and adapting. Listen, not everybody has to be an entrepreneur. And I'll be honest, not everybody has the skills to be an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship requires you adjusting, adapting, learning, sitting on Zoom meetings for weekends, the entire 3 days. You need to be willing to fail. You need to be willing to look foolish, and you need to be willing to be okay with it. And when all these three are there, pivoting just becomes another opportunity of me serving my audience and me serving the market, and then creating another product or another service and to serve them.
Very good. Wow, that's fantastic for both of you. Dominic, I got to open the stage for you now, because bottom line is we talked about the pandemic, we talked about the Twin Towers, we talked about all of these major events that happened over the last 20 years. Sometimes it's a major event, but sometimes it's just what they call a paradigm shift. How do you, as a business owner, number one, adjust or pivot based on these major events, but also see the paradigms that are shifting within your marketplace? Because it may not be a major event that causes you to pivot or to change your business model. Can you speak in line with what these ladies are talking about? Just, I didn't have this major event, but my market has shifted. How do I adjust? How do I pivot?
You have to go back to your marketing plan. Maybe it's something you did that did not work. And in that paradigm, you have to see if I'm reaching the right people at the right time and at the right place. Because just like certain different markets have had to change before the pandemic, because we can talk about like cryptocurrency. There was at one point, cryptocurrency, nobody knew about cryptocurrency. And then once that shift and that change came in, everybody jumped on board cryptocurrency. And then that opened the door. So we have to be able to change, shift, and adapt. And it might be just as simple as our marketing plan, our strategy to reach those people who do not know who we are in our business. Because once we get to find out what it is that we had to shift and what area we had to shift in, because I had noticed that even like the Uber Eats, they shifted and they marketed and went even further, and it opened up and it expanded more because of the situation we were in. Everybody expanded, but they expanded in a different way that they normally would because of the situation that we were in. So if you have that paradigm shift, you got to be able to stop on a dime and just be able to turn. Like my other panelist said, it has to be in your plan though. What happens when this goes left? What happened when this goes right? Where are we able to adapt ourselves at as a business? And from there, you will see the results of being able to shift within the whirlwind of it. Like I was watching a show earlier, and they was talking about a flood, and it was in Houston, Texas, and everybody in the town called the guy crazy because he was preparing for the flood to come, and he bought this big old tube to put around his house to keep the waters out. So therefore, they called him crazy because he was paying attention to the shift. So when that shift came in, he put those tubes up. Everybody else in the city and the town got flooded out. His house stayed dry. So therefore, we have to prepare ourselves for that shift and that change when it comes, and build a dam around our business.
It's kind of like, let's go biblical for a minute. It's kind of like Noah. Everybody thought Noah was crazy for building an ark in the middle of dry land.
Right.
All right. But here's another one. All right. As a CEO, as an entrepreneur, how do you stay ahead of your competition? Well, and before you answer that question, there's a story where the creators of Netflix went to the CEO of Blockbuster. And when it was first started, and offered him the ability to buy Netflix. And he said to them, why would I do that? I own the market. I have Blockbuster stores across the country. Go kick rocks.
Right.
So now, where is Blockbuster? They're out of business. Netflix now owns the market. So now there's a CEO sitting in that chair, whether you're the CEO of Blockbuster or you're the CEO of your own company. How do you stay ahead of the competition and stay aware of the fact that, hey, what may not be today may be tomorrow?
Right. You have to be willing to change, willing to grow and go with the future of what's present. And then not be so intent on, like Blockbuster, they were intent on just, it's VHS, VCR, or nothing else. Or maybe a little DVD. But they didn't think that it would grow and it would go as far as it did. Sometimes you have to go and understand that there's going to be future progress, because everything changes. Because we once had the flip phone, we once had the CD changers, we once had the Walkman and everything changes. Now it's just, I have everything on my phone. I don't need to carry all of those devices. So we have to be able to change with time, with technology, with what's going on at that present time in the world, and be able to adapt and say, if somebody comes and says, hey, look, I have something that is going to propel your business for future revenue, and then go back and look at your plan and your marketing and say, okay, this goes in line with what I'm trying to do. Because like you say, now Netflix, they own the whole spectrum. And I know the people at Blockbuster are kicking themselves in the tail, because all they had to do was just understand that if we adapt to what's going on with the change, it would be Blockbusters / Netflix, and it would probably be $1 billion business. But they, figured, no, we own all of this. This is us. We own the land, as you said. But if we continue to say, okay, I know that there's going to be a change, and I know there's going to come a time to change, because the old ways wasn't working. So now we have to go with the new ways. And the new ways propel a young entrepreneur, a young business owner, a young CEO to the next level.
All right, Malika. Now, Dominic, he dated himself a little bit. I can understand, because he talked about a Walkman, and I don't know if everybody knows. That's from our era. But I want to keep going on that answer. I'm just picking on him for a second there, because I had a Walkman too. But same question: as the CEO, as the entrepreneur, and you're in a situation where you've got competition all around you, how do you stay ahead of your competitor? There are numerous instances that you guys referred to. McDonald's, Roy Kroc. Roy Kroc came in and totally redid McDonald's, but he wasn't the CEO. But as the CEO, they didn't see it. How do you can prepare yourself for that?
Well, I would like all the listeners to ask themselves, what business do you remember
think Malika froze on us for a second. Let me okay. We're gonna come back to Malika because she froze for a second. But Regina, same question, because I want to make sure that we don't lose momentum on this.
Right.
You're the CEO of a company,
Mhm.
and if you need to make an adjustment, how do you stay open? Because sometimes it's a little word that keeps them, it's a 3-letter word that keeps them from making that adjustment. And 9 times out of 10, it's called ego. How do you keep your ego intact to allow you to make those adjustments that you need to make to stay ahead of your competitors?
Well, you kind of hit it on the head, Belton, when you said that there's this paradigm shift. It depends on how long you've been the CEO of anything or entrepreneur. You know there's going to be change. And if you see the history, you know, in my profession, they like to look at your criminal history. Okay. They like to look back in your history because that tells them something a little bit about, well, obviously, but I'm don't even get me started. Oh, why y'all brought that up? Anyway, but they look at that as what their pattern of conduct is. Okay. So you see the pattern. You see what's going on. So I think a CEO entrepreneur, like I said, they have to be a professional ear hustler. They need to listen. They need to stay up on top of things and be humble. You don't know everything. If you did, you wouldn't need the help. I don't know who advised Blockbuster, but I know they're fired because everything went downhill. Mm-hmm. So you need to remain humble. And another thing that you as an entrepreneur, a CEO need to make time of understand is you need to learn how to be unique. You need to be able to distance yourself from everybody else. And I remember Trevor had brought up this analogy with the football. He said that you got a quarterback and you have the receiver, right? And he said, so the quarterback throws the ball and the receiver has to distance himself from the competition. Okay. And he has to distance himself so he can catch the ball. But it's important to do that because he needs to position himself. In order to distance yourself from everybody else, you have to maintain your uniqueness. You got to be different. Everybody's jockeying for attention. All right. And so when you see what's going on and you see there's a market there, a market share, you can move into it before everybody else can. And that's why we're going back to the question. How do you build a bankable business? You have to be willing to change. You have to listen to good counsel. You need to be humble. All right. You need to be unique. You can't be like everybody else. You are meant to be like everybody else. If the listeners are hearing me, what you have is not for everybody, but it's for somebody. Come on now. Mm-hmm. You know, and don't think that everything that you have is going to be for everything. You have to look at and tweak it. Be willing to look back at it and go, how can I do better? Because I'm a servant before I'm anything else. I'm a servant leader. And with that, I want to do what's best for my people. What can I do for the market? How can I make this better? How can I make this product, their experience better? Right? And that's going to take adjustment and change. And if you don't do it, you're going to be left behind like the rapture. I'm telling you.
All right, very good. Malika, you started to answer the question and welcome back. We're glad that you had the opportunity to come back. Same question. You're the CEO. You are the head person in charge, and your competitors are nipping at your heels. How do you stay ahead of them?
Yeah, so what I was answering was, ask yourself, what was the last time which you actually wanted to go back to that particular business? Maybe it was a coffee shop, maybe it was a pizzeria, whatever, what made you to go back to that particular company, to that particular business? And for me, it has always been excellent customer service. Somebody who is willing to listen to me, somebody who is willing to answer me, somebody who is willing to take extra mile to look after me. I'm not just the number for them. I'm a person for them. And that for me is a very important reason why I keep going back to a small business, to a big business. So for me, as a business owner, my first important, pillar and value and mission is excellent customer service. I want my people to know that I'm there, I'm listening to them, I'm hearing them. And many people forget that excellent customer service doesn't happen when the transaction is happening. It happens the minute they're signing up for your email, for example. They are signing up for your Facebook Live. They are coming for your podcast. It's all of those. It's culmination of everything. So that to me is an important differentiation from your competitor. And of course, the next would be the other layer would be read where your market is going, read where that technology is going. Don't stay in your ego of, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to, because this business has been making me money for last 10 years, that's how it's going to work. We have enough examples now in history that businesses are made and they can also die as quick as they are built. So keep innovating yourself. Read books, read what's happening in your marketplace. And also make sure that you're also serving your customers, which are right now in your list, in your business. Because I've also seen this, that many business owners, they are in that race of, I need to get more followers, I need to get more clients. But what about the people you already have? Are you serving them enough? Are you already taking care of them enough? If you're not, then I'm sorry, but you don't deserve any more followers or customers. Because I myself have done businesses with companies, but I know I'm not going to keep going back to them. And for only one reason, not because of their product, not because of their service, but because they did not treat me as a great customer, which I deserve to be. So no matter which level you are signing up your customers, treat them as VIP, as gold member, and trust me, they will keep coming back to you forever and ever and ever, and they will refer. Because remember, your customers, they speak, they write, they broadcast, they will refer you n number of times. So yeah, that would be my one advice.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere because you got to answer the next question. We're going to start with you on this question, okay? Because this is really the question that I like to ask every entrepreneur, because there are so many people that are starting businesses. There are so many people post 2008 or 2008 or the post COVID-19 who will become entrepreneurs, and they're building these businesses, and they are like, I got a business, I'm going to work for myself, I don't have to work for anybody else anymore. Now I have this business and it's bankable, I'm rolling, I'm doing well. Should I have an exit strategy? And if I don't have an exit strategy, why should I have one? What's important? Why is it important to have an exit strategy?
I don't think every business is built to have an exit strategy or is built to be sold. I think it's something which it happens as you are building your business. For some, maybe you have built multiple businesses and now you know what are the foundation of a business. And yes, now I have to build my fifth business to be able to sell it. It doesn't have to be a requirement, but again, it always ties back to why you have started this business. Or what was the longer reason? Was it a legacy business? Was it another business because you already had a business? Was it just a side business, side passion to make some money, including your main profession? What was the why behind that business in terms of monetary, in terms of financials? So that really defines of where you are going to go with the exit strategy. And for example, if let's just say you are planning to exit, I would say don't do it alone, as all of the panelists have been saying it. Hire a coach, hire a mentor, hire a legal team to be able to build that exit strategy for you and to be able to monetize it from that. Because building business is like, you are creating your baby. So you will have those emotional roller coaster ride of, oh my God, somebody's going to take over my business. And what is my next step? And there are enough examples. People have built their businesses, they have sold their business, and then they went on to build another business. So it's very common. But you need to have a strategy. You need to have a coach, a mentor to be able to guide you, to be able to be okay with it. And yeah, so I would say that if you don't have a strategy, that is okay. But if you're thinking in that direction, do hire help.
Okay, great. Regina, what do you think about that? Should I have an exit strategy if I have a business?
It's called a strategy. Whether you exit or not, that's another thing. But it's always good to have a plan B. It's always good to have like you walk into when I walk into a building, I'm always looking for the exits. I'm always looking at, because you basically have to be realistic. There may be times where you may have to, and I struggle with this because, and Malika, she hit it on the nail on the head. When you said, this is your creation, your baby, and don't nobody want to see anything end. You don't want anything happening to it, but you have to be realistic. There might be times that you just may have to make an exit. You may have to exit stage left. So the strategy, you need to have something there, a plan, because hope is not a strategy. You need to have something in place so you'll know that if something happens, these are the steps that we're going to take. Okay. Not wait till it happens and then everybody's scrambling around trying to figure out what to do. You always have something that's going to be able that you can look at as, okay, a fail safe. Now, what if this happens? We can do this part. If this happens, we do that. You have your ducks in a row. It's a strategy. And that strategy is in place. So when stuff hit the fan or things start to change or whatever the case may be, you don't have to, you're not going to worry. You're not going to have anxiety attacks. You're not going to be around here and losing your mind and your people. You still, if you a big company, conglomerate, whatever, you got people too. You got to think about them. So it's best to have something in place just in case you have to exit. And if you have it, great. If you don't have to exit, great. At least you have something there just in case something if you have to make that move.
Okay. All right. Dominic, I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'm going to put a little twist on it. Okay. Because here's the thing. Exit doesn't mean always sell. Exit means you get like me, you get old and you got to kind of step aside and let somebody else take that seat. What's your exit strategy? Because at some point, you got to have an exit strategy because there's only one sure thing. You're not going to live forever. You're not going to be able to do it forever. So how do you develop a strategy? And Regina and Malika both talked about it. It's a strategy based on the unknown. How do you develop the mindset to create that strategy?
Like you said, we have to, and everybody's saying, and I love it because everybody across the panel is saying, you have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. You have to have a backup plan to your backup plan to your backup plan. Because like you say, we're not all going to live out all of our years running our business. You say that, and I know a story of a man who he opened up his business was running for 40 years. And as soon as he sold his business, he ended up passing away because that business was in his heart. That's all he ever knew was that business. And honestly, he didn't make an exit strategy or plan. He had to retire and sell the business due to the fact of health issues. So sometimes we have to put in place that, okay, I have to either train up, if you have children or someone, you have to train them up in the business if you're going to keep that business growing. And you be a consultant. You step back now and you consult that business. And most people are willing to just, if the business is failing, they sell too fast. Instead of, like we're saying on this panel right now, seek mentorship, seek a counselor, a coach, someone who can guide you through those steps. Make sure your strategy and your plan is to where if A goes wrong, I know that I can fall back on B, and that part of my plan will take me further. So now I can get to C. But we have to make an exit plan. And sometimes you don't want to sell. But now if you go into business and you have a business partner, now your assets have changed. So therefore, the demographics on that business changes itself. But if you're going to take an exit strategy, you got to know if you have something that's liquidable, a liquidable asset, if you're going to leave the business, if you're going to step aside from the business, if you're going to walk away from your partner. You got to make sure that it's an asset to where you can go off and you can start another business where you don't have to be physically present. So I believe that, yes, we can have an exit strategy, but it's what type of strategy are we going to have when we exit? And like the panelist Malika said, what's the 5-year strategy when I get to that point of I can no longer run this business efficiently like I should? What's my 5-year exit strategy? Where do I go in those next 5 years as I'm walking out the door from the business? So I believe you can have an exit strategy, but make sure that that exit strategy is part of your plan when it comes time for that part of your plan, and make sure that you have that liquid asset and you take that substantial profit and you're able to live off of that, but have a plan.
Fantastic. Wow. You know, it's amazing. Time flies. And we're almost at the end of our time. But what I want each of you to do is to take 2 minutes and give the audience 2 minutes of your wrap up of our discussion today. 1 or 2 points that you want them to take away from the discussion that we've had today. We're going to start with you, Regina.
Well, I'm reminded of I had an incident that happened a couple of weeks ago where I came back from an event and I saw I had my porch light on, and then there was this Cuban tree frog sitting up there, and I'm like, oh my God. And so way those things are that when they're afraid, they jump and they squirt. And I'm like, no, I don't want that type of anointing on me. Okay. And so I had to have a plan, and the Holy Spirit gave me a plan. And one of the things that you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, as listening, is you follow the plan. Success is in your hands. Okay. Even when you follow the plan, whatever it might be, it may not yield results right away, because the plan for me was to squirt the frog with the water hose, but he didn't jump right away. And I thought, well, this plan not working. So I started to doubt it. So in this journey, you're going to start this stuff and you're going to start doubting, is this going to work? Is this going to yield? And it might not do it quick enough for you. But if it's a plan that was given to you, you stick to it. So what I did, I continued to spray that rascal down. And then finally what happened was he started to slip. And when he slipped, he hopped off. So how I got the victory, I maintained the plan. Yeah, I had to get the water hose. I had to get my hands dirty, put in the work, put in the effort. Yeah, it may not be what you want, but don't be bougie about it. This is your baby. You got to put in the effort. And then when you do it consistently, the consistency will create the circumstance to give you that breakthrough, whatever it is. Because the frog had to let go of the wall. He didn't let go because he was wet. He let go because he couldn't hold his grip on the thing I wanted the most, was to get in that house. So that's what y'all need to do. Be consistent with the plan, follow the plan. Success is in your hand. It may not work right now, but guess what? If you stay with it, you will see the results.
Very good. Thank you so much, Regina. Malika, any final closing words?
So if I was the listener, I may be thinking, oh my God, I don't think I'm ready. This might be my interpretation of all the amazing discussion we had today. And all I want to tell you is that take actions before you feel ready, because you will never feel ready. I promise you. Fear, taking perfect actions is all part of the process. You will feel like, you know what, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to take all the perfect actions. I'm going to create an amazing business plan, and then I'm going to take action, and then we'll see. I'm telling you, you are preparing yourself to fail. Take imperfect action. Take actions before you feel ready. And as you are taking those imperfect actions, you will start getting ready. I'm telling you, each one of us, each one of the panelists, we never feel ready. We always feel like we can prepare more, we can say more. We don't know, maybe we didn't say enough. It's just part of the human behavior. And business and entrepreneurship is all about, my friend, taking imperfect actions, taking fast actions, and taking more actions than your competition. And that's what my last words would be. Take imperfect actions, because that message, that person, that woman, that man, that children is waiting for you. That book you are thinking of writing off, that podcast you're thinking of recording, that panelist discussion you're thinking I should have applied to, whatever that thing you are postponing, do it today, because that particular person needs your message. So that would be my my last advice. Take action.
Thank you so much. Dominic, any last words?
Yes, I would, just piggyback off what my sisters are saying and, have a plan and stick to it and have the faith that it will come through. And most of all, have a clear and cogent business plan. You have to prove that you have the knowledge in doing what you want to do. You have to find that niche that you want to go into, as one of the panelists said. Make sure that that niche is the niche that is in your heart, that God gave you as an entrepreneur to build, to grow, and to succeed in. And then, most of all, like we all said on this panel, you have to invest in yourself. If you don't invest in yourself, nobody else will. Invest with the work, invest with the time, invest with the hours. It's going to be long days and short nights most of the time. But as an entrepreneur, if you want to see that success happen, for those that are watching, you're going to have to invest in yourself. As they say, you got to have some skin in the game. You got to give up some skin if you want to win. And then, demonstrate your experience. Demonstrate the experience to those that are tapping into your business, who want to connect with you in your business. Demonstrate your experience, and you'll go a long way in this business and have a good business domain where people can reach who you are, what you stand for, and what your business is all about, and make sure that that plan is cohesive with everything that your business stands for. And that's how you build a successful business. And those are the secrets that were given to you through this bankable business plan.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, first of all, let me thank each and every one of you for joining the panel and giving us such an incredible discussion tonight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. 3 experts, 3 professionals, entrepreneurs, and successful business owners who've given you their ideas, their concepts, their strategies, and some information to help you take your business from where it is to where you dreamed of being. There are secrets, but the secrets have been unpacked and made available to you tonight. So thanks again for joining us. We wish you all the best. We wish you success in your business, because as the title of this event says, Successfest. Success is in your hands. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.
This time, the time that everything changes. If you want to know how to learn how to earn your seat at the table, if you want to overcome imposter syndrome with tangible and credible steps, if you want to make a difference for yourself and for others and embody that leadership mindset, come join American Management and Leadership by Design's Women's Leadership Masterclass, September 13th through the 16th. Take that step and become the leader that you always wanted to be. Many are called, but
interlocking stories of incest, drug addiction, and domestic violence. It was creatively written to correlate with the developmental stages of the butterfly through the maturation of Alexander Scott, who is my character in the book. It is funny, it's triumphant.